Dobro jutro, dobrodošli. Začenjamo z rahlo zamudo še ene 2 minutki, da se uvodni panel oziroma keynote zaključi v sosednji dvorani, potem smo pa takoj z vami, prav? Tako da udobno se namestite, uživajte in kmalu začnemo. Hvala. Se slišimo? Mogoče lahko izkoristimo in naredimo eno vajo, oziroma bom priklopil kar na angleščino. Good morning, everyone. So for those of you who are not speaking Slovenian or do not understand English or would prefer to listen this panel in any other language than English, there is a simultaneous translation available. I will repeat this later in my presentation, but still, can we just please show the QR code? So, in the left corner, on your right corner, basically, of the presentation, you can see the QR code. You can scan it, and then choose Hall 3, Dvorana 3. And you will be given the availability to choose the language, and obviously then access the simultaneous translation in whatever language you prefer. I believe there are 7 language options, so I'm sure you will find the one you want. And as I said, the panel will be held in English. So you can do the short test now and see if it works. Yeah, sorry guys, your heads are in the way. So now is the time. So good morning everyone and welcome to the FinTech Hall here at Game Changer Ljubljana. Good morning. Let's start this with a round of applause, please. I hope you are all excited, equally excited as we are, and that you slept well, that you are full of energy and ready for a great day that is ahead of us. So before we start, maybe just some instructions or maybe some guidance. So as already mentioned, today's panel will be held in English as we have an international guest on stage, and we are also streaming worldwide. So a warm welcome also to our online audience across the globe. As said, if you would prefer to listen to this panel in Slovenian language, you can scan the QR code and you can follow the simultaneous translation through the app on your mobile devices. Make sure to choose Hall Dvorana 3. Even though we are in the FinTech Hall, we are kicking off with a topic that reaches far beyond FinTech. A global power tech industry that blends design, real-time data, cutting-edge technology, even behavioral science, entertainment, and, as you will see, so much more. We are going to be talking about iGaming. My name is Roko Žil, and at First Class, we've been recruiting for global iGaming companies for quite some time. And I can tell you firsthand, this industry truly is massive. Fast-growing, it's innovative-driven, talent-hungry, and full of opportunities. And these really aren't just online casinos or sport betting, as many might think. This is high-performance product development, real-time analytics, advanced payment systems, creative marketing, and scalable cloud architecture. All of those on steroids. And here is what's especially exciting for Slovenia. Slovenia is emerging as a hub for tech talent in this space. Engineers, data science, AI scientists, and product developers from Slovenia are already contributing to global platforms building innovative products and solving real-time challenges used by millions worldwide. Which brings me to our panelist, Matevž Mazij, CEO of Bragg, formerly Oryx, one of the top experts and most respected leaders in the global iGaming space. Matevž and our distinguished guests, thank you for being with us. And please tell us why iGaming is the real game changer and why this industry deserves our full attention. So gentlemen, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you for the introduction.
Applause.
So before we dive in, I will take a moment to introduce iGaming or sports betting. This is a global industry that is operating at the intersection of digital entertainment, sports betting, online casino games, iLotteries, and its rapidly growing ecosystem of technology, everything from real-time data, trading, payments, and AI-powered hyper-personalization and advanced risk management. This is a $150 billion global industry that operates in real time, like I said, and while the gameplay may look very simple, on the surface, the technology behind it, it's among the most complex in the digital world. We're dealing with high-frequency data, real-time decisioning, fraud prevention, massive scalability, and user experiences that must work flawlessly across continents and regulatory environments. What is exciting for you here is that our region is no longer just a follower and it's no longer participating in this global industry. We are shaping it. Companies founded here in the region are powering some of the biggest operators in the world. Our engineers, product teams, data scientists, and entrepreneurs are influencing how millions of people play, bet, transact, and interact every single day. Today's panel brings together leaders who have been building this transformation from the inside. They represent different parts of the value chain, from platforms to operations to data to AI and product innovation, but they all share one story: how this region became one of the world's most dynamic, emerging gaming and sports betting tech hubs. A quick introduction of the panelists. On my right is Eberhard Durschmidt, CEO of Golden Whale, a company that is turning massive player data into real-time insights. Aleš Gornjec, CEO of Comtrade Gaming, a leading technology provider known for building some of the most reliable, scalable, and high-performance B2B platforms in the industry. Then we have Luka Pataki, EVP of AI at Bragg Gaming, a global iGaming content and tech supplier, and Luka is one of the region's most influential voices on data-driven product innovation. And last, Andrej Bratko, SVP AI at Sportradar, where he leads AI research and development and as well as the technology platform directly supporting AI model training. I will start with Eberhard, and the first question, Eberhard, when you look at the iGaming and sports betting industry, where do you see the strongest contribution of our region, which is Central and Southeastern Europe? And what do global stakeholders still underestimate about it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me today on this panel. Thanks for the invitation. And to your question, I think the most obvious thing that we see on this panel already is a concentration of tech talent that is in this region, concentration of people that are willing and able to apply a huge amount of common sense and structural thinking to building technologies that can be applied worldwide. And I think also coming from a smaller country, one of the advantages that we have from a structural point of view is that we are very early on forced to leave our home markets. And this way we build our companies in a way that we have to adapt to markets globally very early on in constructing the processes in our companies. And this makes us very ready for internationalization at an early stage of the company development.
Interesting. So, Aleš, given the small size of the Slovenian talent pool and the challenge that is exactly the same that Eberhard has just described, which is the small local market, how have you managed to acquire talent and then successfully expand into markets such as Latin America, North America, Asia, and across Europe?
Hi. So when we started in the gaming industry 25 years ago, we were one of the biggest local software companies at the time called Hermes Soft Lab, which helped us with the, I would say, technical talent. Of course, nobody had a clue about gaming when we started, so we had to learn a lot. You can get the talent here, you know, the programmers, the database experts, DevOps, but still, gaming industry is very specific. It has heavy regulation behind that. You know, it's a skill that you cannot really. Nobody teaches that in universities. And this skill we have to give to people. Of course, this is our investment, and we try very hard to keep people to stay in our company. Luckily, we have a small fluctuation. Slovenian engineers, they don't like to move, that they stay in Slovenia. That's because you know, everybody could get a double salary if they would move to some more prominent hubs, but luckily they stay with us. That was very helpful, because the products, of course, are our investment, but without our teams, those products wouldn't be valuable at all.
I'll skip you, Luka, and ask a question for Andrej. As a major B2B player in sports betting, and maybe you can just share some basic information about the volumes that you guys are dealing with. What is your core strategy for leveraging the vast data advantage that you have? And how is this focus on data and AI development critical for your product offering? And again, maybe just for the audience, how big is the data set that you're operating with?
Thanks, Matevž, and good morning, everyone. So Sportradar is a sports technology company. We service several industries, including sports betting, but also media and technology with live data from sports. We cover about 1 million live sports events per year, and our products reach hundreds of millions of sports fans globally. In betting, we partner with hundreds of sportsbook customers and process about maybe 10 billion betting transactions per year. In sports betting specifically, one of our key strategies has been to leverage the scale and data advantage to build machine learning and AI models that help our customers be more successful and more sufficient in their core business. So including AI for odds pricing, risk management, player profiling so that they know their customers better, and new ways, or coming up with new ways for customers to experience sports.
Luka, what are the most significant and innovative ways that your company is applying artificial intelligence or AI in its product portfolio? Maybe we start talking about that.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. First, I would start maybe by saying that I think maybe starting with the kind of what is the core differentiator. I think first I'd say AI models are, and I think everyone knows that they're becoming more and more a commodity. So it's not really, I think, anymore so much a differentiator. And I think the great place where Bragg sits, but actually also Sportradar, is this strong position to control the whole value chain, right? In case of Bragg, it goes from the game development to the platform and actually reaching all the way to the customer. And that is a vast amount of data, and ability to work with that is where actually a true differentiator happens. And I think in our case, one of the really important parts is how do we move beyond the, I would say, the GPT wrapper hype. You know, in our industry, also globally, and everyone again sees there's a lot of generative hype. But what we are trying to focus is, and I think most of panelists here, is how do we build understanding of the future? So how do we build better predictive intelligence that we know how the players will react? What is the next important thing to serve them? And it's not just about predictive intelligence in terms of the player actions, it's also predictive intelligence in terms of business decisions, right? So our focus is a lot on that, taking all the data we have, and similarly we are talking about billions of transactions, and actually turn this into understanding the future and then building on top of this. Other than that, of course, hyper-personalization, every industry talks about it, we also do. How do you make experiences that are really tailored to every single individual? And then, of course, responsible gaming by design. I think we need to be, this is a very regulated industry, and we are always trying to ensure that we are proactive in how we tackle this. And again, we have vast amounts of data to do that and are actively pursuing that.
Thank you. A question for you, Eberhard. Can you elaborate on the kind of big data and AI challenges Golden Whale tackles, and how do your products utilize this data and create value for the operators?
Yes, thank you. Great question. What we are doing is basically we are solving across several verticals the CRM problem that everybody has. Since we have to be honest, AI is not a new technology. I've been in early neural networks in the 90s. And back then already multidimensional and nonlinear decisions were better done by machines than by humans, looking for optimal operation points. And now in every vertical, and a lot of industries, but also in every vertical in gaming, the complexity of optimizing a customer journey has always overwhelmed human brains. It's a 200-dimension decision, and it's not for humans. We have 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional brains. And what we do, we build decision-making modules to solve this problem, attached to almost any technology that is out there in our space. And we've seen it's completely underserviced. We see now 150 to 450% uplift potential in operations from Latin America, US, Europe to Asia. So everybody on the whole world is filling leaking buckets with user acquisition, where there's a lot of focus on. But on the other side, keeping the player engaged, this is something that is still tried to be done by A/B testing around the 200-dimension problem. And this is something that this company has been already before ChatGPT. Golden Whale has been founded and has built solid models on to solve this, and to great value to the customers.
Great. Andrej, how is Sportradar tackling these challenges? What makes sports data and sports betting such a technologically challenging domain?
Thanks for the question. So there's a few things there, but one for sure is the real-time nature of sports data and sports betting. So these days, most bets are placed in-game, live, during an event. And the implication is that, you know, our solutions, our machine learning models, our computer vision models have to run in very low latency pipelines. So like within like sub-second latencies end-to-end are required. Otherwise, the value of the solutions diminishes quickly. Another aspect of it is just the scale and complexity and diversity of the data. So there are, dozens of sports, thousands of competitions, all of these new and emerging betting markets of things that people want to bet on and that we have to predict. So that makes it quite complex operationally and in terms of scalability. And to give one example of what we do, how we also use AI and machine learning internally to be more efficient and handle the scale is computer vision. So these days we use computer vision to deliver automatically data from about half of the sports events that we cover. So on an average day, we would cover about 1,000 sport events with live computer vision to automatically produce data.
And what are you and your teams currently working on at Sportradar? Which new innovations, whether it's AI or anything else, are you currently working on?
Well, there's one thing that that excites me recently. Well, many things, but one thing in particular is our recent focus and investment in building what we call sports foundation models. These are large generative AI models similar to language models that power ChatGPT or Gemini, but they were not trained on natural language to predict the next word in text, but instead on very large volumes of sports data, and are able to predict the next actions of players and playing decisions in sports at a very granular level, at the level of body pose motion and 3D pose on like split-second decisions. So we've seen that these models exhibit deep understanding of sports, and there's potential to use them in simulation, prediction, analyzing players' decision-making, and so on. So that's an area of research that I am excited about, and we believe that it could have an impact on all of our business areas, including sports performance, but also media and sports betting.
Luca, a question for you. Our region is obviously very strong in engineering, but it's often considered to be weaker in product thinking. How do you build a successful product team in the region that truly understands the global requirements?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I, over the last sort of more than 10 years, I focused a lot on innovation, building something that has a product market fit. I think it's true that I think we are very strong in how to build things, and sometimes maybe not so strong in why. I would say we need to be a little bit more obsessed about the product market fit thinking, just to, instead of asking ourselves, can we build this, but really start asking ourselves more about who are we building for and who needs this. On the other hand, at least when it came to my teams and thinking about product innovation, move this mindset from thinking about the output, so what a great complex code we built, and move towards outcome. So what KPIs are we moving? In case of solutions and ideas that we are working on today, we are thinking about, how does this affect player lifetime value? How does it improve operational leverage? Things like that. So really start thinking and pushing and even obsessing a bit more about the outcomes rather than the outputs. And I think we have a lot of great engineers, but somehow, from what I've seen, I think the companies sometimes lack investing more also in product leaders. I think this is where, empowering them in a way to say no sometimes to engineering enthusiasm, and just thinking about what the customer wants. So at least these are, I would say, some of the principles I followed, and I do see also talking to some others in the region and industry that, yeah, we definitely don't lack the technical expertise, and usually also a lot of founders are very technically versed, but we do need to probably spend or invest a little bit more into the product expertise, business development expertise, and it's changing, but maybe being a little bit more obsessed with it would be good.
Aleš, what is for you, for Comtrade, the single most critical mindset change that you had to adopt to make you a global B2B powerhouse in gaming and sports betting? Over the last, obviously, 20 years. You've been in this business for more than 20 years now, yeah?
Yeah. So coming from like a general software area, we were at the time serving telcos, we had public sector projects, we had clients like, Hewlett-Packard from day one. We were really good at technology, and online gaming at the time the whole industry was hungry for technology, because some of the clients, they were super successful starting up, but because they were so successful, they were struggling. When bwin came to us, they weren't searching for gambling experience. They knew they had that, but they needed a strong partner that could help them with technology. This is how we started, but then with time we learned, and these days still we are primarily a technology supplier for the gaming industry. We don't have direct relationship with players. The operators are in the middle. This is how the industry works. There will always be operators who offer games to players. They process their deposits, withdrawals, and we are behind. When we started in UK, and then the next few clients, they were in Asia. We didn't really know a lot about gambling specifics in Asia, but they needed really scalable platforms. They came to us. There are shows. This is how you do business in online gaming. There's a show in London, and one client came and said, "Well, we are successful, but we need a platform that can handle 5,000 bets per second." We said, "Oh, we don't know. We're not sure. Let us test." We didn't want to oversell, and we called them, "Look, we can't handle that now. We need some more time to optimize." And then, they came back. It seems they didn't find an alternative solution. And at that time, we told them, yes, now we can do it. And that's really important. The gaming industry is small. Everybody talks to everybody. You really need to do your best to serve your clients. And that's really important, as a mindset. We have 24/7 support, 4-minute reaction time, 1 hour fixed time with our top clients. And that's quite stressful for the team that's on duty. There's somebody sitting in Manila during the night, something really dangerous happens. They start waking up guys here in Slovenia. We have, I don't know, around 10 experts that they can wake up in case it's really a problem. But they can't wake them up, just in case, because then they're angry. They can only wake them up if there's really a problem they can't solve. So for the team, it can be stressful to handle that situations. But this is what we do, and our clients appreciate that.
Eberhard, what did you have to learn to keep scaling your organizations? You have been in the business also more than 20 years. You have scaled many organizations. What are your main learnings? What mindsets did you have to change?
Okay, so basically being in the business for so long, I'm now in the business for almost 30 years. And you must imagine when I started with online gaming, we were stacking modems on the side of servers so that people could have a phone line in to play against each other on the server attached to the modems. So what you permanently have and what I created is a habit of unlearning and forgetting certain things again and trying to rebuild the mindset with the tools and the technology at hand. So for example, if you look at code generation now or system generation, already 1 year from now, I as the CMO was able to churn out a prototype code and didn't need a programmer anymore for that. And it's getting better by the hour. So what we now see is a very strong movement of bottlenecks already in the production systems, that the bottlenecks are moving from production to quality and to structure. And so you permanently have to re-evaluate what is there, what is the potential of the technology we can use and can afford, and what is the systems you build on top of that to be as quick as possible to adapting to what the market needs. This is a permanent habit.
And a question for obviously anyone or everybody. Beyond AI, what is the next major technological advancement that you see is going to reshape this industry and possibly other industries that are very similar to iGaming and sports betting? And let's take 12 to 24 months as a period that we want to talk about. If you will look into the future, where is iGaming going to be in 24 months and possibly where is going to be in 2030? We're seeing a lot of disruption in this industry, from predictive markets to sweeps to, aggressive regulation, taxation, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, we're seeing massive adoption of AI, massive adoption of new technologies. And as an industry, we could say that we are very progressive in that respect, that we adopt new things very fast. And maybe just, food for thought, and anyone can start. Andrej, you want to start?
Okay. That's an interesting question, and I think
crystal ball question.
Yeah, crystal ball question, exactly. And we've sort of barely, I think, scratched the surface of I think what AI or the potential of AI. But other areas that might be in the next leg of growth or development in technology might be like virtualization or these completely digital experiences, metaverse if you want. So that's also an area that we're, let's say, keeping an eye out for, and I think in the long term might be investing in relation to sports and gamified sports or betting.
Maybe I can add a bit as well. I would say we are like suppliers in the industry. I think I would agree with you. We are very progressive. I would say maybe on the operator side, there is still room for more. I definitely agree with, I think, Andrej, I would say that we are just scratching the surface, I think, with AI, especially the way I see it, maybe on the operator side, in a couple of years, that most of decisions would be AI-driven. I think today still there's a lot of marketing decisions that are manual, driven by people. Even how the websites look, still they are very similar. I think there is enormous potential still for personalization and AI-driven decisions. So I feel we will see an enormous amount of automation in this industry on the B2C side. I think there is still quite a big gap. And actually another one that I wanted to also add was that I also believe this virtualization, so hyper-immersive virtualization, I'm still waiting for that. It's being talked already for a while, but even we went from retail to online, and I feel like there is something that's coming next, and maybe that's like this hyper-immersive virtualization, but we'll see.
And I have a follow-up question for you. We have Slovenian tech community, Slovenian business community sitting in this room. What must the community actively build or cultivate to support this development? And you have been around the world, and all of you guys have been around the world and have worked for different organizations, global organizations.
It's a good question. I don't have from the top of my head. I think there is a lot, in terms of the tech community, there is a lot happening in this region. I believe it's even events like this, I think, are a good step towards just making sure that that progress continues and that we think about it, we invest in it. I believe this region is very strong. Even when we look just at iGaming, we talked earlier a bit about this, just across Bragg and Sportradar, we are a huge employer in that space. I think there's a lot of knowledge, technical expertise. There are definitely opportunities to even somehow collaborate across different companies to actually, because, you know, as they say, together I believe we can accelerate the advancement even faster. We're probably not yet doing so much of this. I think we could, together with events like this, and just push this development forward even faster.
Thanks.
So first is the crystal ball question.
Yeah,
and
the
then
crystal ball. Look, I think the gaming should be about entertainment. So the players should be entertained. And if a player goes, let's say, to Las Vegas, yes, they can gamble, but they can, you know, have some meal, they can go to a show. There's a lot of happening. That's not just gambling. In the online gaming, yes, primarily players will come and will want to play games, but the operator should be able to give them something more, so that, you know, even though if somebody is losing and you feel sorry if they lost a lot of money, you can't just change the mathematics of a game to give them the money back, because the regulators strictly forbid that. But there could be some other things that the operators could do, you know, for players to come back, you know, to kind of build loyalty.
And responsible gaming.
Responsible gaming, of course, yes. So there are always limits to what you can do. There are even stronger limits in the, let's say, traditional land-based gambling industry, but even in the online, there are many rules that forbid what an operator can do to engage players. But as I say, it shouldn't all be just about gambling. There are things, you know, you can, and that's something that, you know, whoever will figure it out and will do it better, you know, they will keep the players in the future.
Some crystal ball from my side too. Okay, with you said beyond AI. With AI, we now have tooling to work with vast amount of data, unseen before. So what will be the next step then? Sounds a bit boring, but I think the next important thing that comes from this is that measurement gets so much more important again. There's a race now already going on for every ounce of information I can gather as soon as possible about the person I'm cooperating with as a client product.
The end user.
The end user, yeah. And to get this data measured correctly and then as liquid as possible into the models, they might be commodity, yeah, but also the angle of tech. And this decision-making process based on the precision of measurement and the number of experiments that come from that. This combination will be very important. So if I can measure more and get better results from that, the next step will be to measure more data and get this precision up to get the results as good as possible. This will be the next step beyond the tooling we have now, as far as I can see it.
And then I asked another question, which Luca answered. What would the regional, local tech community have to do to follow the trends in the market and be as progressive as we are right now? We're talking about a region that has been building products that you have pretty much 100% coverage with. There are no operators in the business that wouldn't use either Sportradar or Comtrade or Bragg or your solution. So how do we keep that market coverage in the future?
Especially with an event like that, keep up the flow of talented young people The future is what the kids are doing, basically, in the end. So what you have, you need to build a bridge to young talent coming into your companies, and combine those with experienced engineers and experienced product developers, and get this flow straight. The moment you have this, you have a connection to what is out there in the market. And I think events like this are ideal for that, to communicate to a broader public and to see where young talent could come into your companies.
Thank you. We have 5 minutes left. I think last 5 minutes of this panel is dedicated to Q&A.
So, dear audience, feel free to raise your hand and I'll serve you with a mic. Don't be scared. You have great panelists here, great experts, international leaders, so now is your chance. Who's gonna ask the first question? Let me start it like this. Wow, you're all so frightened.
Maybe you can ask the question.
Well, I mean, so tell us why you've already been talking about Slovenia and the region, but what is this main differentiator when it comes to tech people, so the people that work within this industry, why we can compete with the global players, really, if we are focusing on talent?
So how are we different from Silicon Valley and London and Malta and JIB and all of these tech hubs?
So, I think here in this region, despite obviously it's a bit difficult because this whole AI hype is big globally, but I still feel that we are a little bit less focused on the hype and more about the why. Despite like what I said earlier, we are very technically strong. I do feel that here our engineers are, it's not, they are much more, let's say, the technical architects than just engineer. I think everyone sort of thinks about how, or the mindset is thinking about how you build solid solution. Oops, and maybe it comes with what Eberhard, you said earlier, right? We are forced early on to think globally, and so we are forced early on to think about scalable systems that need to survive a lot, right? Not just around, we don't have markets, domestic markets big enough for this. I also feel like here, I read somewhere that in Silicon Valley and in those bigger, technical hubs, companies more rent engineers because, they come in and leave in 8 months. I feel here loyalty still means something, and engineers like to see the long-term impact. And I think these are some of the things where it is good. Obviously, everything has a bit of plus and minus, but I would say still it allows us to build like a robust, scalable systems and really be the backbone of important solutions.
Thank you.
Next question, please. Yes, I'm going to hand you over the mic, please.
Okay. So my name is Tanya, and my question is, because you mentioned our talents, and I totally agree that engineers here in this region are very smart, talented, and loyal. So how are you giving back to universities here in Slovenia and in, let's say, in our region? Because we know our education system, I would dare to say it's very stable. It's public. Majority of the universities are free of charge. So it basically gives opportunity to every student to study. You don't need to take a loan for that. So my question is, how are you giving back to that? Because, of course, we need talented people, young people. We need to give them opportunity. Is there any collaboration between that?
Yeah, perhaps I answer. So our company, starting in 1992, Hermes Soft Lab, this was the day when Hermes Soft Lab was founded. We were growing really fast. And for many years, Slovenia really didn't produce enough engineers for us to grow. And in the early days, many people joined our company before they even finished the university. So Hermes Soft Lab was not popular in the universities back then. We are, that's a long time ago. These days, there was a period we were doing summer schools. That was our attempt to show how real life work in a company looks like instead of studying and learning more like a theory. And that was very useful. People came, and in 14 days, they produced miracles. Today, in our projects, we don't even start in 14 days because we are talking how to start. But they do actually. In those 14 days, they produce something from the beginning to the end, and that's really good experience. Many students, they work during when they're still studying. That's something we don't currently. We don't use a lot. We don't have a lot of students, mainly because our work is really, the gaming is very heavy, the domain knowledge in gaming, and we don't have a lot of tasks that we could give to a student that we allow them to learn, but more or less we don't expect a lot of contribution from them. That's unfortunately so. Our products are big, and they need to learn first for 6 months before our seniors allow them to change any code.
If I may add, but I think that this industry is very talent hungry, and we are looking for specific competences, and the cooperation between companies and universities, I would say, is on a very high level. We all do summer schools, and we all try to attract talent as early as possible, and we all try to figure out whether certain groups of talent is going to fit into our culture very early on. So I think that the level of cooperation between the companies and the universities are at a very high level, at least from our perspective. And I'm pretty sure that Sportradar is the same, and Contrade the same. I'm not sure about Eberhard and how things look like in Austria or wherever you have your own hubs, but yeah.
Well, basically, it's the same like before. We try to connect to people from the universities where we need them. And at the moment, the feedback loop is not closed yet. It's too early in the company development. But back in the days with GreenTube, we had a back and forth as good as possible to support and to educate what we are doing and which talent we would need. So it's information flow back and forth, also for the people educating new talent, so they know what the demand is on the other side.
Great. So I think that our time has ended. Thank you, gentlemen, for this insight into the iGaming, sport betting, and other interesting industries. Thank you for being with us. You will have more opportunities, obviously, to speak with all of them throughout the day. And before we finish and conclude, of course, first thanks to all of you, dear panelists, and also warm thank you to our online audience joining us online from around the world. Special thanks to Grow, Slovenian but global marketing agency that made this live streaming possible. And now to all of you here in the room, now it's time that we move from theory to practice. I invite you to experience the world of iGaming yourself and join the fun tournament prepared for us by Bragg. You should already have received your unique QR cards. If not, they will be delivered to you on the exit. And you should follow the instructions on the card to activate and join the so-called Golden Harvest by Atomic Slot Tournament. You should try it. It's really fun. Just really follow the instructions Important disclaimer, you will be asked, while you will scan the code, you will be asked to put in your username and password. It's not your email, okay? You have your unique password and username on the card, so it's a safe, secured environment, so you're not using your own data. You just use the ones you have on your cards, and you keep those cards with you in your pocket till the end of the tournament, because this will also guarantee that the best ones will be handed over the awards, the prizes. Talking about the prizes, just make sure to win, because you're competing for prizes such as Sony PlayStation 5, a GoPro Hero 13, and an Amazon Echo Dot. So you can follow the live results also on the leaders board at Bragg's booth, where their team will be more than happy to assist you and to help you with all the questions regarding the tournament. So thank you for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the day here at Game Changer Ljubljana. Thank you.
Introducing Visa Intelligent Commerce, allowing AI to shop and buy. Add, smile, done. It's that simple. You're in control to make the final call. Or you set the limits and let it do the rest. New way to buy, same trusted, secure way to pay.